Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening podcast number 13, and today's episode is a Wednesday episode with a guest host. Today we are diving into a very interesting story and the journey of one of my followers who has sent the story. As many of you know, on Wednesdays we discuss about the journey itself, your journey, what happens inside of you, how do you feel, and how to go over this or how to understand this journey even better. So today's episode is a guest story, like I said, and we'll dive into one story that is very interesting. And this time I will do it a little differently. Instead of reading it all the way, I will stop in between and tell you what I feel and what I'm channeling through this message. I figured that last times when I've read the messages, I lose the whole ideas sometimes, like I don't remember what I was supposed to say. So other than just reading the whole story, I stop in between and I tell you more. If you're new here, welcome to this podcast, and this podcast is dedicated to all my beautiful twin flame souls out there. As we know, this journey is extremely intense, painful, and confusing, and many times we are asking ourselves, is this connection even real? So for that reason, on Wednesdays, we discuss other people's stories. These stories are anonymous, and if you wish to share your story, please send it to Twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. This story today is going to be quite eye-opening for you, I believe, because the person who wrote this had a very good way of explaining in detail what she felt and how it happened. So if you would like to learn more about and bring some love and light into your story, feel free to listen that episode today. There are a couple of things right before we're going to dive into this story is that you remember all that last episode on Sunday, we were talking about twin flames, how they can telepathically communicate and how does it work and what happens when you do what I said to you to do. And many of you wrote to me that it really happened to them, that either they got the sign from the universe or the twin flame really reached out to them and said something to them that was mind-blowing, that for them was like, how it is possible. So thank you for sharing this. I'll try to put up these little testimonials on my social medias as well in order for you to understand that the methods and the techniques I am telling you are actually working when you take them really seriously and you do the work with yourself. Another interesting thing what I would like to bring out here is that many of you have asked me, am I in a union with my twin flame? And I have explained also about the union in my previous episodes, about that union is not physical union all the time, and actually the union happened the moment you met in a physical world. That's why for your mind and for your physical, it's so hard to understand that why you're not together. While if you go within and do the work with your soul, you understand that you are together and you can communicate and you have this whole connection. So coming back to this, me and my twin flame, we are in a regular contact. Currently, he's actually going through a spiritual awakening. He's still denying it. It's very difficult for him, but he's expressing his feelings to me and sharing with me certain things. But why I'm talking about it today is for the fact that on Sunday or Saturday, I asked my TikTok community and on YouTube and everywhere, share the song that represents Twin Flame Journey for you the best way. And to be honest, the idea of this didn't come from seeing someone else post or thinking that that might be useful for you. It was more for my soul who told me that, you have to ask and put down the music that represents twin flames, or that people listen when you really relate to it. Because I believe that artists and the creators have had encounters of their own twin flames, and that's where they put it into it finally. But again, funny thing what I'm talking about to you was that I posted this on Saturday, and many of you replied, and I'm trying to make a playlist about it, and so feel free to leave yours as well. And then On Sunday morning, I woke up and I saw that my twin flame had shared on his social media a new song, or the song that he's completely addicted to. And his words were pretty much similar to like this: I don't know if it's my face, but this song has been repeatedly in my head. And I got immediately very interested about it, that what is this song about? Because there were some really weird graphics, and the graphics are actually written words on a paper. And I put this on a link description because you will see. And this person who wrote that, like this is a songwriter, and there is, in the letters it's written, there is no end to the pain, you must be numb. You are not alone. It will never end. Pain, useless. My sanity left me when I dig it. So this is actually the whole, like, there are other songs this artist has. And then it's also like it's meditate, remember, visualize, liberation from everything. And then I scroll down to see the lyrics of this song, and it starts like, baby, I need you in my life. And then there is another part where it says, which I think is so on point for the twin flames, is like, I'm nauseous, I'm dying. She ripped my heart right out. I can't find her, someone to. My eyes are all cried out. Lost it, riots, gunfire inside of my head. I have lost it, riots, gunfire inside of my head. And so why I'm talking of this song and why is it relevant for today's episode is because the last time I was exactly talking about that you are sharing the same frequency soul. So whatever you think of, actually they think of. And they have the same, and especially as I mentioned, my twin flame is going through a spiritual awakening. So now he has arrived to the point where it starts for him. And it's very painful. And he really feels that I left him. So it's the same, he's in the same place where I was when it all started. Because I was the one who awakened earlier. So he has still a journey to go for. And this is a real proof of the fact that you do communicate and you have the same energy level with your twin flame. So I think many of you might be wondering, do they feel the same way? What is happening? And today's episode, we're going to dive into this. Do they really feel that your twin flame runner feels the same energy? How do they feel it? And what is actually happening? And why do they run? Because these are the questions we all try to find answers for. And I believe that the more we share our stories, the more we discuss about it, the more we're channeling it through our soul family like me, who can feel this, like I had the downloads coming to me, which are telling to me, this is most probably it. So, if you're new here, I hope you like my episodes. I hope you find them useful. If you are already been here, I'm so thankful for you to come back and listen to these episodes because it means the world to me. And also for little other thing is for Anna, who is listening on Spotify. She's always commenting and she's always leaving a nice comments for me. I'm really thankful. I don't know how to reply on Spotify. I try to figure that out. But Anna, thank you so much. Your comment on Spotify means the world. And of course, for everybody else on YouTube who is listening, you are amazing souls. I am so lucky to be connected with all of you. And thank you so much. So let's dive into today's story. And it's, in my opinion, it's very beautifully written and she has a very big soul. So you can always leave your comments at the end of this story and tell, what did you feel? Did you feel any of this, what she felt? Okay, let's start. My twin flame journey has, of course, been profoundly life-changing. My life suddenly altered its axis. I am still navigating this journey and have moments of utter clarity and then utter confusion. At times, I have deep soulful patience and then very human panic and urgency. But the ebbs and flows are the nature of the game. I had been in a toxic and abusive marriage We had separated and going through a terrible divorce and court process. We had 3 children together. I was navigating this divorce journey well, despite the intense struggles. I took my children to a festival, one we had been to a year before. Right before we're diving into the festival, I want to say this here, that when you actually encounter your twin flame, because many of you, I made an episode about it, but I also say many of you, if you are married or in a relationship, and then you encounter your twin flame, your frequency level changes. And if your partner is not a spiritual or not willing to go with that world, you are speaking different languages from their own. And even though you might have had some struggles before, because none of the marriages are easy, there are always ups and downs, people change, we have different way of seeing things. But with twin flames, what happens is that your frequency is going higher. You see differently world. And the way you're trying to explain to your partner, you just feel that they don't get the message. They're still very ego-based. They think black and white. Everything has to be the way it is. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of misarguments. And that's why many divorces actually also many divorces are happening. Because your frequency is no longer the same. You remember when you were in your 20s, your frequency might have been the same. That's why you met. You are law of attraction. You attract who you are. And then when you are in the marriage and you feel you got just to feel something that you have never felt in your life before, and you understand that there is love so powerful. And I'm not saying that always the divorce is an answer. It's not an answer. This has to come inside of you. I know, like myself, if many of you are asking, I am the guide for my husband in a way of his spiritual awakening. And my soul, when I did a channeling, literally told me that this is your job. Your job is to help others when it's so hard for them. And so that's why when people ask me, but you are still married, I'm like, yes, because I have a different mission and I got the energy from my twin flame. We are in a very good relationship. But my end goal at the moment, and keep in mind, twin flame, if the universe decides to be together, it will happen. If the universe decides that you have to have a mission in between. But again, it will not happen when the other part is not spiritual awakened. Because you have to think in your head that your frequencies are in that terms different, that you are awakened, you see, you understand what is your mission, what you're supposed to do with, while the other parts simply do not. And you're trying to help them. And for them, the ego is still there, which denies all of that information because you don't have a proof. You can tell them, please don't do this because that's going to happen to you. And they're denying it. So eventually you get tired of that. But if they are awakened, you will do magic together. And that's why there is this process, the growth process. Anyways, let's dive into the story again. The year before, I had unknowingly crossed paths in a significant way with my twin flame, but it didn't register at all. I knew there was some people there at a specific point, but I had no conscious awareness in the way of this person at all. He performed at festival, and the performance was what had made me to commit to go again. Yet, still do not register him anyway. I actually have here is also another thing to say, which is very funny that we become the chasers, divine feminine becomes the chaser. But in the beginning, we try to refuse this. Like we don't understand what is happening. It's really like my twin flame, when he reached out to me, I had the same, I felt like, why should I? And at the same time, my soul is like, you need to talk to this person. So let's go. The following year, I went again with the children. I had an awareness of a tall man passing by me, almost circling around me. I became very aware of his energy, gentle and calm. He interacted with my children, and his ease with them was so noticed. By the end of the night after his performance, I felt a little spark of something. This was very noticeable to me as I had no desire to meet anyone. My heart was a stone. My life was happy, good friends, busy, and lots of fun, but I was not looking for a relationship, partner, lover, or nothing like that. Not interested in any way at all. but I still noticed this man. We spoke briefly, and during the interaction, Spirit gave me a sign to pursue contact in the future at some point. You see, here she is explaining also very well. I think many of you who are listening today and understand that when you met your twin flame, you had no interest of being with that person or looking for a lover or looking for this connection. This connection happened most probably very unexpectedly. Yes, there are some kind of exceptions, like in every journey, there are always exceptions, but there is a similar pattern that you most likely are like, okay, I'm fine, I'm settled, because for me it was the same. Married, 2 kids. Was my marriage perfect? No, but which type of marriage is perfect? And everything takes time. But what happened to me that I had to go some strange places, and then all of a sudden I met my twin flame. So it's not always, how do I say, that you plan. I don't think you can plan twin flame meeting. Universe is much smarter in that terms, and your frequency has to be there. So this is how it starts to happen. Another thing is, of course, that her story is the same, that her heart was a stone, which means her heart chakra is completely closed up. Fear of love, fear of opening herself up, fear of being herself because of the previous bad experience she had. And her heart was just closed. She was happy what she has around her and having a gratitude, which is one of the biggest power as well. But she did not actually have this full love for herself. I know this very well for my own example, that when I feel lost and when I don't know what I'm supposed to do, what I do is I work, I find my creativity, that it brings me the happiness and everything, while actually I have to go within. And that's why meditation and breath work are really powerful tools here. That when you go within, you understand, oh, I need to give myself space. I need to process this feeling. And it was painful, but I let it go from me. But what we often do as humans, we are like closing it up. We don't want to deal with that. So we think that this part of the garbage, which is in the corner there, let it be there. But it will start to stink at one point, and it will hurt you even more. But this is normal. We have a coping mechanism, how we deal with things. And so many of us, exactly, we start going more out. We try to keep ourselves busy so not to deal with that. But that's why twin flames are coming to open all of your chakras. And that's where the pain comes as well. Okay, let's go on. The next day I was hoping to bump into him, but I did not see him. My heart said, who is that man? I know nothing about him, and I need to know about him. She stole my words. Absolutely, I had the same. The following year, I went again with the children. I had bought the CD from him, and when I got home, I realized it didn't work properly. I tried to contact him through Facebook Messenger, but it wouldn't go through. I had to contact a friend who had tried to share his details with me before, but I declined. So I contacted him. We had a polite exchange. He promised to send a new one. I found it amusing that I had crushed on someone, yet he wasn't really showing the same feelings. The new CD arrived the day I was going to the deep spiritual retreat. I played it loud, partying on the drive there. During the retreat, his face would float in and out of my mind at the deepest part of the ceremonies. Nothing attached to it, but clear and noticeable. At the close of the ceremony, it was said to go out to continue the work and forge new friendships. As this was said, his face jumped infant on my eyes. So much so I jumped back. All right, Spirit. I get the message. I can hear you. Very true. Another reason why I say to my people and my clients and my souls, retreats are very powerful, especially when you get to do breath work and sound healing retreats. First of all, you close your mind there. That's where the mind stops obsessing around it, and you actually get clear answers, what you're looking for. And having these clear answers bring you so much clarity. Like, for example, when I first went, it really changed me. I opened all my chakras, and it's the same thing that all of a sudden you're there. I spoke about this in my last episode, But when your time is ready, the universe helps you to see. And also, I think I would take a little credit for here that if I tell you to do breath work, if I tell you to do meditation, take this time and you'll see the difference. So we go on from here. So I sent him a new message and I offered a hand of friendship. That night we talked throughout the night until the early hours. The next night, the same thing, then again for a third. On the second night, I became aware that during our conversation, without me even realizing it, my body had been sexually switched on. We are not even flirting or anything similar, just a normal conversation. I later learned this is the Kundalini Awakening. It was clear by day 3 that there was an intense connection, and he acknowledged this too. Totally. I think we all have been there, and your body becomes a fire. You really feel, and you really have, because your sexual organs are in the root chakra. It's where the base is starting, and the more you do work from there, that's why you're opening this, and their energy, the energy exchange is opening that chakra. And this is where it all starts to, go up into your head. So we need to clear the way, and it starts from the bottom. From then on, we would talk via WhatsApp from the moment our eyes open until we would close. We moved to voice notes and then phone calls, and 1-2 weeks he got cold feet and he called it off. I was heartbroken and sobbed. It didn't make sense. I only knew him a short time, but it felt like my world fell apart. But we kept talking, and quickly it was all right. He had similar paths to mine, so we had a lot in common and similar life journeys. Our friendship developed, and we were such a strong bond, and we just knew each other. It is so hard to put into words. I knew from the beginning that he was a person was so important in my life. I had never had a connection like it. So pure and so honest, so tender, and yet so vulnerable. These are the key words here. This connection is very pure, very honest. You're very honest in the connection. You tell to your twin flame things that you would never tell to anybody else. And you are not afraid to be vulnerable. Like, you are not afraid to be you, in that soul level you. Our conversations were intense and also very sexual, but sexual without the shame or embarrassment, but incredibly vivid. I would see moving images in my mind of having sex, and I would share these images as they came, and I would see the same image. It would physically feel as it was real. He would then share his story, and he would describe the exact thing that I was in my mind too. Totally. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, you share the same energy, you have the same thoughts, you have the same understanding, and that's why it's so powerful, because think of you, that your two higher selves are coming together now, and what a power it is, what you can do with this. He again got cold feet, but then we were able to reconnect and plan to meet. We were so excited and scared too. What if the flesh, there was no connection? What if we felt none of the same chemistry? We felt like teenagers going our first date. Yeah, it's totally like a teenagers. When we met, the chemistry was unreal. Instantly, the fireworks flew. We had so much fun. We talked and talked and talked and talked. We were so excited, yet at the same time, there was this deep sense of calm in our hearts. Everything suddenly made sense in the world. Totally. I think every one of you who are listening and reflecting back to their journey right now, it's exactly the moment you meet. I think even the first, she had conversation in prior, so it's not her first time meeting, but your first time you're a bit confused, because how can you feel that? But then when you actually meet again, you feel like you're at home. You feel so happy. You have this inner peace, and there's no time and space. You are not in this earth on that moment. We had both traveled to meet and had a hotel booked. There was no pressure if we wanted to be intimate, but that would be okay. It was a bit overwhelming, so I shyly crawled into his arms, and my heart and soul sunk into a deep, comfortable rest as he just held me. Before we knew it, we were being intimate, and it was mind-blowing, just unreal. Even thinking of it now, I can go straight back to those moments. They are still so vivid, and my body still responds to the memory. We made love many times, and each time it became more and more intense. We slept rapidly, tightly in each other's arms, not wanting to let go. My mind was blown. There was something beyond human in this connection. It was ethereal. I think I don't even have words here because it's so beautifully described. I've heard that you become one on that moment, and the energy is really flowing through your body. And I think you even have an out-of-body experience and all of these things. Because, you are the energy, you're not only the physical beings. That's what is the difference in between having intimacy with some other. You are having on a physical level, but you're not having in a soul energy level. And once you get there, your meditations, your way of traveling with your soul becomes so deep and so amazing. And that doesn't only mean that you need to have intimacy with your twin flame. If you do the work, if you open your chakras, if you open your intimacy, if you open all of that, you start feeling that and you become that. You know what your body, what your soul wants. And that's important. Intimacy is not what we think of that gives us this little extra spark on that when we're having intimacy with someone. It's feeling everything inside of your body, inside of your soul. And when it's the end, when you have the orgasm, then you go somewhere else. Like you're really traveling. And we can talk about this in my upcoming episodes. From this day on, we spoke every day, all day. Deep, intense connection, great friendship, and so much fun. We could talk 8 hours and not be bored. We did not live close, so seeing each other was a not easy thing. I had intense separation and anxiety. He felt like home to me and me to him. He also shared how he never felt this way or any other way, but he had doubts that would surface. When he spoke from the heart, it was beauty and love, but when his head would take over, he would worry. Again, very good explanation. Many of you are thinking that, is my twin flame feeling the same connection? Did it feel, or was I just lunatic in my head and all of a sudden I had this crazy feeling and crazy intense energy and everything in my life started to happen? And how did it start to happen in this way? I can tell you that yes, your twin flame feels exactly the same energy, and that's also the reason they're running, because it's really intense for them, and their ego kicks in saying, this is not real, this is what you're feeling, suppress it. Do not use that energy, or do not feel that energy. That's why they often go with somebody else, or they deny you by saying this is not real, because they are ego-based and they don't let their soul to speak to them. I like to bring it as an example that, sometimes in your life, you need to make a decision. Let's say, for example, and you don't really know, and then your soul tells you, go there. And your mind kicks in and says, no, there's nothing there. Don't go there. Go there. And you go to the wrong shop. You don't get anything from there. While your soul was telling you all the time that this is where you're supposed to go. So this is pretty much the same concept around why they run. Because for them, it's so intense. And honestly, it's intense for both of us. But we are the ones who are awakening earlier. So we kind of try to calm down and go through the process and opening ourselves up. Or also, I would say that the universe starts to tell us and guide us and gives us the people who will help us through this process. But this process is not easy and it's very painful. And in order to top it up, that I had this question for a very long time. Did my twin flame felt the same way in that energy-wise? And just a couple of weeks ago, I shared it on my podcast as well. He came up and he literally said, when you left, it affected me a lot. And it wasn't actually me who were leaving. He just stopped the communication. But it's more complex than just saying they just ran away. There are a lot of energies, a lot of things that are happening. But let's go on. We shared the most beautiful and intense nights of deep connection where I knew he was my forever person. I shared this with him and it was reciprocated. The relationship developed and we meet each other's children and friends, and we had multiple plans to extending into the future. Whilst I had noticed a shift of the energy over a mild misunderstanding, bang, and the relationship was over. It had been 6 months. And there started my intense and soul-shaking knots. Even though I at the soul level knew he did the right thing, and I knew he had to loving me to let go as I had to work to do. My human form screamed out for my friend, my lover, my partner to return home, to me. I was breathed and not able to function. I would wake sobbing and I'd continue all day long. I did not return to work for 6 weeks. I had not taken the day off through my divorce. I have not known soul-shaking heartbreak like this. Each day was an eternity. The time stood still. At the times I would hear him so loudly and clearly talking to me, holding on to me at night with all his might, begging me not to let him go, not to give up on him. I would also feel him sexually as real as if he was there. He even spoke through me and verbally and with a witness there to acknowledge it. I still feel his presence in and around me. I still hear him, but it's more gentle and calm, more distant but equally clear. I still feel him stroke my back and comfort me. I have recently come out of the knots, but I have really turned the corner. I moved more into soul and less in an ego. I'm still working on through. We did not talk for a long time, but then we did. The time to torture noticeably returned to a normal after a conversation with him. We have recently spoken via WhatsApp and it went well. I had to really work on the balance to share the energy. I know that our paths will cross over the summer, but I had an image in my mind at a particular place, and now I have found out that there is a good chance that our paths will cross at this same place a year to the day we met. It feels like even if we met before, that will be just part of the process, but maybe at the year maker, that soul conversation may take place. I was shown during the meditation that the moments we shared where we knew we were each other's forever person was the truest and purest moment. The rest is simply noise. This process we are going through is noise. Once we work through the noise, eventually we'll get back to the truth and figure out what this connection is all about. The noise is so human and so irrelevant, but yet so important. She again explains it very well, the end, when this all happens. So we are in intense pain. Based on the way she wrote this story, and also the way I feel and I'm channeling through right now, I can really feel that one of the things is that her soul is telling to her that what if I go there? What if I do this? What if I take this leap of faith and do this? Like there is something she has to really drastically change. And the soul is asking, what if? What if you do this? What will happen? And so the soul wants to discover something really big for her. It's something that I think her soul is really telling, what if I do this? What if I go there? And what if the life brings me this? She has done the work in that terms that she has done the meditation. She has a vivid way of feeling things and already having a vision, which is a very important part of this journey. The only thing is, like, I also see that there is a bit of an ego left when there was when she also said, my human form, which is the ego, screamed out for my friend, my lover, my partner to return home to me. So it's like me, mine, this belongs to me, this is mine. And this is very ego-based, and we all know that. So in a big picture, if we would talk about the big picture, we have to forget that there is me. There is me. Ego, we always need 10% of our ego to stay alive in this world right now. But your twin flame is you, in that terms that you share the same soul, so they are always with you. The moment you understand with your soul level that you are connected with them, you talk to them all the time. You have the same way of vibrating, same way of communicating. They also say, like, in a way, like twins, like twins kids who are growing up, that they can feel each other. Like if something has happened to the other twin of them, that they can feel it. And so it's in a twin flame, but now it's in a soul level. So it's not in a physical level, it's in a soul level, that something happens to your twin and you can actually feel it in your body. Like, for example, my twin is going through a spiritual awakening at the moment. And it's very difficult for him. So he's in a way of partying and having a bit of trying to get numb. But it affects my body. Like, I have massive headaches. I have this stiffness in my body. And it all comes because he's going through it and I have to process it. And it's not pleasant either. So but I know that the less I interfere, the more I'm just listening and just trying to let him to speak it out, the faster it will happen to him. I trust my soul, I trust my guidance, and I listen to my soul, and soul says, back it up right now. Let him go. He has his journey to feel. Because we don't learn until without the pain. And once we have learned with the pain, we don't want to go back where we were. And this is what twin flames are about. You're becoming your higher self, but through the pain, through the process. Your old way of understanding of the world will no longer make sense here. And I think that's the beauty of it, to be honest. Yes, being in a union, if you get to be in a union with your twin flame, if the universe decides like this, it's amazing. But what is more amazing is that you're becoming a law of attraction. You're becoming the high frequency, vibrant being that pretty much wherever you walk in, you attract the best of the best of the best. And that's what is teaching you right now, your twin flame. Your twin flame is teaching you, become who you are supposed to be, become the attraction. You know that sometimes you go to some restaurant or some bar or some place and the person walks in there and maybe it doesn't look particularly something, but everybody's looking at her or him. Like there is this energy. It's not about beauty. It's just this energy vibration. Like the way the person smiles, the way the person talks, the way this whole magic. And this is who you're becoming after all of that pain. And once you are in this stage where you are union, you know what you're supposed to do, you know who you are, you know your value, you know your worth, you know everything, they come back to you 100%. If it's your true twin flame, they're coming back to you. But then you have a bit of a different way. You will not run into their arms like a desperate person. You understand that they need to have a process. They're coming back. They don't go away. They are here with me. And that's where the magic starts to happen. So thank you so much for this story. I found it was a very beautiful story in my opinion. I also have a couple of updates. So on Friday, we are entering into a new moon, and it's a new moon in Taurus. So if you're a Taurus, hit the like button, because we are entering into a very beautiful change, and it's the change of know your worth. And I think twin flame connection is a really big one of teaching you about knowing your worth, knowing who you are and what you deserve. What type of love do you deserve? What type of life do you deserve? What kind of things you need to do in this life to serve this life in your highest power and your highest good. So these are the little things that we are going to discuss about it on Friday. I'm going to tap into the new moon's energy. It's in Taurus, so it's very powerful. And so the Friday on YouTube, there is a little short update. What are the energies, what you have to watch out for, and how it's what if there is anything particular for twin flames and divine masculine or from divine feminine, especially when they happen to be Taurus. So I'll do an episode of that. And like I said, every Wednesday and every Sunday, there is a longer podcast episode where we dive into the topics. This Sunday, there's a new episode coming out. And I had an idea of bringing the techniques of how to become your, first of all, communicating with your twin flame, and second of all, how to become the higher self, that there are some kind of exercises, some kind of things that will really bring you to that level. I did that on myself, all my clients are doing it, and it seems to be working out for them absolutely amazing. I see amazing results. Had an amazing call with my client yesterday, who, when we first spoke, was really heartbroken and really confused, and all of a sudden he's in the flow and things are starting to happening to him. So my main goal, and the reason I'm doing my podcast and all of the social media, is that I help you to become your higher self, that helps you to become into the union. Not that to tell you that the only way of being you, that you'll be happy, is that your twin flame comes back. That's not the truth. Your happiness has to come inside of you. You have to become the law of attraction, that you attract everything beautiful in your life. You attract the happiness, you attract the love, and your twin flame is back like boom. Literally like that. So these are the things I'm going to discuss about it. And again, your every like, your every subscribe, your every little thing means the world to me. And also I connect with you. Many of you have said that when they have sent to me their, like, I've posted a video and they write to me, I was just thinking about it. So I'm truly believing that just that you're connected with me is helping me to produce the content or the information that actually helps you in this journey. So thank you for listening to today's episode, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I really, really hope to see you soon here, because there are many things that are going to happen, and you know that you are a beautiful soul who deserves the best in this world. So thank you for listening. Bye. You got me in my feelings, keep me up all night. That's okay, that's alright. When I wake to the news, you have run off with the moon in your pocket, and nobody saw you slip away so soon. You can do no wrong in my eyes. Let's bury the hatchet, no more lies. Baby, you're wound too tight. Let me help you ease your mind. 'Cause nobody told you, I try to console you. You will get to where you're going. I'm not gonna sway you, I'll try to persuade you. You figure it on your own. Some might say that we can choose who we love, and if we lose sight of who we are, that we can go back and get a brand new start. Get in touch with our souls and understand our deep desire. So I climb inside to tap your heart, and I'm wearing the wire. Doesn't really matter who's wrong or right, I'm still gonna squeeze you tight with all my might. Sugar ain't come pouring down to lay my flight. That's okay, that's alright. So long as I can be with you, I feel so high, and I can't seem to shake it, and I don't know why. You got me in my feelings, keep me up all night. That's okay, that's alright. When I wake to the news, you have run off with the moon in your pocket, and nobody saw you slip away so soon. You can do no wrong